I'm playing video games, and I need to get like something I can use to screencast here. But I've been doing some thinking, and I think that it's probably a good idea for me to continue to video blog, because I've had a lot on my mind, and I'm a person that when there's problems, I analyze the living fuck out of them, and I like to do research, and I feel like sometimes in that process I come across information that could be useful to others. I also have a need to vent, and I don't feel like I have people that are easy to communicate with around me. I don't really feel like I have anybody I can talk to on a very clear level about what I'm experiencing. And often when I do try to talk to people, I get a response of not understanding and sometimes judgmental. And I feel I have a fairly clear understanding of the things that I experience, enough to where I'm not going to eat bullshit when it's fed to me by other people if I'm trying to get feedback on my problems. So I'm going to try to avoid letting video blogging be an all-out venting place, because with where I'm at in my life, with what's going on right now, I have taken time to meditate on what everything means and where it's going on my own, and done research, and I'm feeling very frustrated. And I do feel that I'm starting to find some conclusion to these frustrations, but at the same time, with all the thinking I've been doing, I still remain very frustrated. So I feel that there are probably some things that I know I would like to be able to find information on easier that are frustrating me at this time. And I think that is probably the main reason for the prompt, is issues involving women's rights and women in business. Also issues of, I know that there's a lot of shit talk about millennials and where they're going with their lives, and so that's probably going to be part of my dialogue. So the situation that I'm in, oh, in college too, that's another one. I've taken 2 semesters, so I'm a new student. And the financial aid office at the college I'm going to, which I am not going to say their name at this time, but I am very unhappy with their etiquette. The financial aid office has denied my federal financial aid over my GPA, which is a very complex issue because I've only taken 2 semesters of school, and the ethics of the college I'm going to, the behavior of the professionals within this college, is a contributor to my low grades, and I am very unhappy with how the college system in America is operating right now, and I'm very disgusted and angered by the fact that I'm trying to attend college and it is a living nightmare hell to be experiencing, and that these guys are taking thousands of dollars from people and behave this unprofessional is absolutely appalling to me. And I feel that what happens in the college educational system in the United States might be something that should be better understood, because what I've experienced is absolutely, in my opinion, completely unprofessional and appalling for an establishment that is taking so much money from the public and really putting out so little and doing harm on their way. But I'm going to start with my more immediate frustrations. So pretty much I'm going to say I got kicked out of school. They're telling me they didn't kick me out, but they're denying my financial aid. And I'm not rich, so I can't just pay for that out of pocket. So in my opinion, they kicked me out of school over my GPA. I have to write a appeal letter and go in there and argue with a bunch of assholes. I'm not going to wash my mouth. I think I'm just going to be myself when I'm doing these freaking video blogs and be straightforward and not care who sees it. So I gotta get all that settled, and that's stressful for me and very upsetting, because to me it's my future and it's putting a delay on my future. And the reason why that delay is being put on my future is because there are money grubbing assholes that don't have control over their establishment and don't care to have control over their establishment and don't care about their personal professional conduct and probably are not regulated well enough. So I've been on the career trail for the past 4 years. I started working in landscaping as kind of a fluke. I've been doing general contracting, which was a result of winding up homeless because I have a negligent family and come from a disadvantaged background. And that's what got me in that situation, was I really never had any parenting, and I am not a person who uses drugs or alcohol, so it's not that. And I do prefer to be intelligent and educate myself, regardless of whether or not schools want me. So when I dropped out of high school, I continued to educate myself because I was being mistreated in school, and my family life was making it also harder to go to school. So I wound up doing landscaping. I've been doing that for the past 4 years. I came into a company on temp service that was having a massive internal failure, and I saw that and took advantage of that, trying to weasel my way into a management position by making an attempt at disrupting internal fraud in a large corporation whose name I will not mention. So their owner died, and pretty much whoever was inside of the corporate offices, decided they were going to use that as an opportunity to destroy that person's legacy. And in the landscape industry, in these past 4 years, I've seen a lot of stuff. That company I was working for ultimately failed, voluntarily forfeited contracts. I wound up working with the people who were working as management for that company, who took on those forfeited contracts because the clients had no help as a result. And we started one company that was a living nightmare. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I'm used to being involved in the startup process. It's been restaurants, and I've done a graphic design company and band booking. So I've opened a few restaurants, graphic design, and bands. So we started a company because one of the managers had assets and the other manager had teamed up with them, and they took the Valley Crest team and put us to work. And that was a really, really sloppy mess. Extremely unprofessional behavior involved in that situation. For me, as a young person, it was an opportunity. I was apprenticed in graphic design by my uncle, who went to college for it and did not complete because the college he went to was also committing crookery on the students. So I didn't get a full-blown education on that. I just kind of threw myself into it, and so that was unsuccessful. And I decided I'd be better off. I was making money doing landscaping, and my paychecks were looking pretty nice, and I really enjoy being outside and working with the earth. And I busted my ass really hard for this team and these people, and I fell in love with the work itself. Something about working outside and working in nature mixed with who I am as a person and working hard just makes me feel whole. And that partnership failed after, I think it was 1 year. The two who were really in control of that situation broke up. And I think that the guy who was in charge of the company, the owner, was, I've seen it plenty of times in these startups, one of those egomaniacs that just does not respect their team, does not respect what they're doing, and does not deserve success because they don't have what it takes to be successful. So I got involved again with the second of those two managers. He started his own company the year after because they had a dispute, so they broke up, and he took that team that was initially with the corporation. And so for me, that was a big window where I could work with a team of people who I care about, some more than others. And I really had a lot of hope for that situation, that we were going to be able to stick together and get it done and do great things and really rise up as a figure in the landscape industry that has significance. So I don't know if I'm going to make this video about the landscape industry and then cut it apart into sections, because there's really a lot going on with where I'm at right now. But I do feel like what I have to say is relevant to the landscape industry. And I just need to vent because I'm angry. Pretty much we got rolling. I rolled out through the first year with this dude. This is my second landscape startup in landscape management. And I may not be the person funding the business, but I have been through this shit enough to know what success looks like, and I have done enough research because I am an entrepreneur and I do care about success. And I know the difference between what's going to work and what's not going to work on certain aspects. And when I speak up, it's because what I have to say matters, or at least should be looked at. And when there's bad communication on a team, like this was a nightmare. Okay, first year you get a bunch of people, every business I've been in, first year you get a bunch of people, they're all excited to open a business, and then they go through that first year, which is like a living fucking nightmare of, we have an idea but we don't know what's going to happen, and so they have to adjust to change it to problems as they arise. There is no procedure, there is no way of dealing with them. And I understand that. That's part of starting a business. That's always how first year of business will be. Second year, I expect a business to be developing its policies and procedures. So, I wrote out first year of business. I put my all into it. I am driving my personal vehicle, my car, shoving plant materials in there, buying my own tools, just trying to get through it. We had nothing. We lost all our assets from the breakup, but the team wanted to stick with the new owner, not the old owner who was an asshole. And so I was being pretty understanding in that first year. And just riding the whirlwind. I worked off the clock to get projects done. I did everything I could to help us reach a bottom line on my end and have quality performance from my end in a way which we could start collecting the assets that we need, like a fleet and tools to operate functionally. So I feel that I did my part with this business. Second year comes around and I'm still operating out of my own vehicle. And I'm starting to take on team members. I'm now in charge of maintaining 2 properties. And the real problem for me with this comes in with the boss's wife coming into the picture. And I have talked to a good deal of people in business about this, because when I quit, I was extremely upset and really needed somebody to talk to, and so it was kind of indiscriminatory. If somebody was in a business and I ran into them and I was able to talk to them, the conversation was happening. So I'm still buying my own tools. And I'm getting ready to take on a team and advance on more properties. And I care enough about what I'm doing to try and be a structured manager. And what I'm seeing in the rest of the team is disorganized chaos. And I refuse to let myself be that way. There's no excuse for that. I enjoy the idea of stress-free productivity. And I feel, I had made documents. I was working on documenting everything. And his wife comes into the picture, and I'm wondering why she's not pushing paperwork. And I was turning in paperwork, and that was being ignored. I couldn't find an inbox for her. And this is where I messed up, is I didn't bring it up early on that I'm having problems. And I let those problems accumulate to the point where I snapped and quit. Granted, with this being a boss's wife, the owner's wife, there's a chance that even trying to have that conversation still would have been unsuccessful for those reasons of getting an emotional reaction when business needs to be done and I'm trying to do things properly instead of having my needs addressed. So I can't say that if I addressed it earlier, but I should have. In any situation, problems need to be addressed immediately as they arise when they involve a business's functionality. And so I'm about to start picking up more properties and managing more employees. This woman's not doing her paperwork, so I gave up on doing the paperwork. I just gave up on that. And just do it all at once at the last minute and throw it at her when she's got a meeting coming up. Because I did really good about keeping my logbooks, but gave up on trying to understand what the hell was happening with my position because she got put in charge of my position. And with new people and more properties coming onto the docket for me, I started to get pretty worried about the fact that I am landscaping out of my car and using my paycheck to purchase tools when I tell somebody who's in charge of the finances and in charge of my position that I need something and I don't have it, and wait 3 weeks or more on a request. So I told them I needed a wagon, and it sat in the yard disassembled for over a month, and I didn't know whose responsibility it was, if I should be doing that on the clock, or if I need to delegate that. And I tried to delegate it, and I brought it up several times, and I never got my wagon. And so I finally, it's sitting there, it's been paid for, and it's sitting there disassembled. And it makes no sense to me, because I just decided I was going to go buy one because there's a tool that I needed bad enough. I went and spent $150 on a wagon. And yeah, since I'm spending my money, I got a cool radio flyer. But they had fully assembled wagons at the store I've been buying my tools at. So there's no excuse for that either. There's no excuse. It could have been bought fully assembled. There is no excuse. So that's just wasting money. Extremely unprofessional conduct. And I really don't want to be pruning plants and managing a landscape out of a car. And unfortunately, I am young and I come from a disadvantaged background, and I don't have more than one vehicle. I did not expect to find myself chasing a career in landscape, but that's what I wound up doing. And I would like to continue doing that, but now I'm at another crossroads. So my reasons for leaving my job are more than justified. Yes, I had a mentor. Yes, they were, my boss, the owner of that company, who advocated for me through this whole period of my life, that we got things done to an extent together. That was an enjoyable experience. But I'm not working for free. And for a company to run, protocols need to be there. Because if I die, or if I quit, or something happens, these people need to be ready to be able to do business without me. And any owner of a company should think the same way about their own position. And the disorganized nightmare that company was just absolute stress for me. And it was time to have that conversation. Where's my truck? We had the money. I'm managing a team. And his wife is not letting me get through on the phone. And she's throwing a fit while I'm trying to get her to understand what's happening on my end and do her fucking job. So, as far as the people in business that I've talked to, the conversation on this one pretty much comes down to, you do not put somebody in charge of managing what happens out in the field if they don't understand what happens out in the field. And just because you have a relationship with somebody, that's so risky. You could be opening up grounds for a divorce if you're going to get family in a business. You could wind up stuck with the 50-50 split. What happens in the business could greatly affect your relationship, and obviously these two didn't have it on lockdown well enough. So I hope that their marriage survives, and I hope for the best for them. but I still feel that I am very justified in my reasons for leaving. And I do feel that I was mistreated. So, upon leaving my job, I went ahead and took a hiatus. 4 years of constant stress, opening 2 startups in high revenue businesses with really complicated management shit going on. I needed a break. That was all I did was fucking work. Hadn't seen my friends for a really long time. Just pretty much detached myself from my life and became absorbed in my work. And it really angers me where I'm at right now, because I have thrown so much into researching and understanding and making myself a pro in such a short period of time, and now I'm being rejected in the workforce. And I think it's because I'm a female. Now, I'm well educated about what happens in the landscape industry. And, you know, I have my eye on the company. I had a conversation that I think if I was a guy would have given me a job. But I feel, based on body language, that I was met with skepticism, and I feel that it's because I'm a female. When I was doing general contracting before this whole escapade, I came into a landscaping company and had a guy marching around the yard throwing tools because he had to work with a female. And so now I'm looking at the fact that my gender, so the way that I was born, the fact that I'm female, is now preventing me from pursuing my career, which I've also started going to college for. And that deeply angers me. So I've been researching gender bias, and I am definitely the kind of person that doesn't want to allow the way that life is to stop me from achieving my goals. And I understand that life is difficult, and I'm willing to fight for what matters to me. And I'm trying to wrap my mind around this whole gender bias bullshit. And I am seeing that as a very real issue. And now I'm on the shit end of that stick. And I don't regret leaving my employer, because that employer was abusive of me, taking advantage of my kindness and disrespecting that. And when I look at the companies in landscape that are out here, I'm dissatisfied. As of right now, I am not really interested in working for any of them, as far as the larger operations go. I only applied for one company because that's the company I wanted to work for. I gave them a map of the property that they are working on, because I was working on that property, and I made that map. I have management experience. I was looking for entry-level work. I should have been met with receptivity. And now I have lost all respect for that business. The other one that I would consider working for out here is the same company that guy went around the yard throwing tools and throwing a hissy fit like a out-of-control toddler. So I obviously don't want to work for them. I feel that what I'm seeing in the landscape industry is a disgrace. I have a lot of passion and reason to want to do this work. I have indigenous ancestry and feel a need to defend the earth. I can't handle being locked up in a warehouse. I don't like that shit. I don't like working inside. I prefer to work hard. I have anxiety issues. So, working hard helps me feel better emotionally. It keeps me calm. I have an overactive mind. So there's a whole science there that I need to understand doing landscape work. I need to understand the soil and the plants and the water and even the animals. And that's why I am pursuing a degree in landscape architecture. It correlates with everything that I believe in as a person. I'm pro graffiti, so I don't like that for people when they go out into this world, when they're not at work, if they're in town, they are bombarded by gray streets pasted with advertisements, just a reminder that you need to spend money, you need to have money, you're nothing unless you have money. There's more to life than that, and I think that people need to be able to just simply enjoy life and not always feel down on themselves, feel like they're not good enough. And I also feel that the urban environment is a disgusting, hideous place. It's all gray and nasty. I'm an artist. I've always been into drawing since I was a child. I believe in art in public spaces. I'm an environmentalist. I think that people need more exposure to nature. Studies show that it really helps with psychological well-being. So I feel like those two combine well, and I also have a scientific mind. I analyze and find solutions. So it really seems to me like landscape architecture is right down my alley. I could work on species rehabilitation. I could share that gift of nature with the people around. I can make people feel better in their environment and take away some of the sadness that's out there, and it's what I want to do. Other than that, I really want an opportunity to be at the forefront of progressivism in landscape architecture. I feel that in landscape management, I am seeing a lot of just ridiculous mistakes that these architects are making. And I feel that a lot of these people that have gone to school for landscape architecture come from privileged backgrounds and thought it would be fun to do. And I don't see much that really reflects a deep emotional connection, a meaningfulness with the work so far out of what I've seen with these landscape architects. So I really think that if I were to get involved in it, I would be able to make strides in the industry and definitely be at the forefront and be successful. But it's like malpractice on all ends. So I'm going to lead into another thing that's driving me nuts. I'm working on the fracking issue in Colorado, and it makes me think deeply And pretty much what we've got going on is companies that are not taking responsibility for their behavior. And a problem that we are having in the United States is companies not taking responsibility for their behavior. So, I'm working on this issue, and somebody brought up to me a company that has moved into the region that is neglecting the public by polluting the air. And I really don't want to give out the details because there's a legal battle over what they're doing. But pretty much these guys are in charge of rock. They're dumping it out. And what they're doing is they know that they should be saturating that because they're hauling so much of it around. And it's throwing a bunch of particulates in the air, which is going to get in people's lungs and cause damage. And they are choosing not to do that. And as a general contractor, as well as a landscaper, I've definitely been injured my fair share of times. I've undergone a lot of really poor training from people who could give a fuck less about my safety. And as a manager, I understand that my employees' safety is my responsibility. And I take responsibility for that. Last thing I would ever want is for somebody to get hurt on my watch. I think that work should not have to be this horrible, depressing, fucking stressful struggle. And if I'm in control over what is happening around me in the workplace, I will do everything I can to make it so that it's not that place. I just believe that we can do our work and have a good day. And I support that, and I stand behind it, and I take responsibility for that. And I wish that there were more people in management positions who saw it that way, because far too often I'm seeing assholes that got barely any idea what they're doing getting promoted through the ranks, and they're too lazy to read a damn book. They have no understanding of management. They have no leadership skills. They treat their employees like crap, and they fuck up the company's numbers. And I am just not willing to put myself in a place like that. I really do not want to go work for some asshole that treats me like shit and then be killed as a result of negligence on the job. And in landscape, that is, these people, these companies, man, what I've seen so far, they fucking suck at training. I will give it to landscape industry that the people who do the work love their work, and I think it's because they get to be outside and they have an extent of freedom and they make decent money, kind of, not really, enough to afford a place to live and food if their boss doesn't have them buying all their fucking tools. Other than that, what I see is these companies are taking advantage of their clients by being dishonest. Excuse me. And I don't know. It's like, what's the point? If I had the money to start a landscape business, I think I could completely fucking destroy these companies. There's one in Boulder that's eco-friendly. That guy knows where it's at. There was another one I saw in Oklahoma. They just engineered their own green technology. Those guys know where it's at. Other than that, I feel like in landscape management, you got a bunch of meatheads that barely understand what they're doing. I think that they're hot shit, that abuse their clients, and have no understanding of the true nature of the landscape and what it can do and how to take care of it. They're just milking it. There's no ethics, there's no business acumen. It's just Weasley deals and fucking around. I mean, granted, there's hard work involved, but it's not going anywhere. And there's a lot of shit that needs to be done. I think it's hilarious that the green industry has not gone green and doesn't even fucking think about it. And that's fine. You know? We got a bunch of sexist assholes fucking around, and they think that business is a play area. Like, yeah, you should be able to enjoy your work and all, but if you don't take it seriously enough to be organized and do research and work as a team, I pray to God, man, that these companies that see the treasure of what landscape really is and its potential are going to rise out from under the rubble, because this is ridiculous and I love my work. So I'm really angered, and I don't want to work for somebody who's fucking retarded. I'm not interested in working for a business that's going nowhere, because I'm looking for a future. So yeah, I'm not technically unemployed. I'm underemployed. So I refuse. Period. I refuse to put myself in a situation of devoting my time and energy to anyone who's going to mistreat me and put me in danger and not do good things, do bad things. And if to me that's just more than what we're even looking at here, because it's not just landscape. I mean, this company that my friends in activism are after right now is doing the same thing. They're neglecting people. They're conducting shady business. And then add to the picture these fracking operations. I'm doing my research on this. I have to be informed. I am not about fucking with people's lives. Fucking with political shit changing the situation, if I'm making a bad decision. And honestly, these fuckers, these fucking asshats, the only argument they have been able to make so far is the economy. When that's all you got nothing. I'm sorry. They got nothing. Because if money's the only argument, if money is the reason why a company or companies should be allowed to pollute the environment and poison people, that's greed. And I had a discussion with an oil worker who's out of work right now, and he wanted to blame me for that. And I listened, and I opened my heart to this person. Yeah, he's got a child, but you know what? I don't have kids. I'm almost 30. You know why I don't have kids? Because I am not gonna have a child that I can't take care of. I am not gonna have a child with a man that's gonna abandon his children and leave me with them. I'm not gonna get myself into a bad relationship because I'm not gonna let people treat me bad. And I'm not gonna have a bastard of a child. And I am not gonna find myself trying to raise a kid without a way to raise that kid. And yeah, I want a family. But, what makes this guy so privileged that I should protect him when he doesn't even care about the work that they're doing and how it affects everybody else and those people's children? I have no sympathy. That's greed. When all you care about is money, that's greed. I don't care if you're an employee or not. I have no sympathy for that. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, lest you find yourself fucked. That is such a crock of horse shit. And this is a really big problem we are having in this country. And I am on the petition. And we don't have enough people, man. We get this massive policing issue. So I am subscribed to Cop Block in every state. And I am seeing almost a daily occurrence of these police fucking shooting people for no good reason. These protesters are out here for a reason, okay? I do my research. I don't fuck around on this shit. If I'm gonna get involved, I need to know that I'm making a fair decision. Okay? And I'm an activist. And I'm an activist because I understand that the decisions that are made involve privileges, such as the library. That is a privilege. Education is a privilege. And that when crooked motherfuckers get involved in politics, privileges get taken away. And that can affect your livelihood. That can affect the difference between right and wrong. And we've had too many people that have deep wallets, lots of fucking money, getting involved in the politics because they understand this. And so they're abusing the political arena to create opportunities for themselves, making the wrong decisions, and as a result taking away from the common people where it really matters and where truth lies. These people are doing harm. They're abusing the environment, they're abusing the people, they're killing their employees, all in the name of the dollar. And it's okay for this to be going on. I'm sorry. Businesses need to be held accountable. If they're injuring their fucking employees, you should not be running a business if you do not understand the safety hazards. These people need to be protecting their employees. That infuriates me. Every time there's a manager, I will not work around heavy machinery unless I'm in control of the situation. I do not trust any employer ever to be in charge of my safety, because so far what I've seen, these people have proven that they hire idiots that have no idea what they're doing onto their management team and expect jack shit of them. And what these companies need to realize is when you hire fucking idiots that treat their employees like shit and don't give a damn about their job, that company is gonna fail. So why should I be riding the ship to failure? I'm not doing it. So I do think about what I'm doing, and I do care about where I work, and I am politically active. And I think more people need to be politically active, because nothing is happening with this cops issue except for people are going out and protesting. We have to get involved in politics, and if the voting system doesn't work, if something is going on with our voting system that makes it so our voting system doesn't work, because I hear that argument made, that is a very serious problem. And it's not something that you go, oh, well, voting doesn't work in America. No, that is our fundamental right as American citizens. And if something needs to be changed, then we need to see to it that that is changed. And if you're not doing that, then shut your fucking mouth. I don't want to hear a goddamn person that's not a registered voter and that doesn't vote say a fucking thing about politics, because I don't feel like they have the right. I don't respect uneducated people that choose to be uneducated, because they have nothing but the stupidest shit to say. And they're really good at spreading hateful bullshit. And they're not getting anything done. And in a lot of situations, they make it worse. By telling people not to vote, that's voter suppression. That's a little horse shit. Like, we need our voting system to work. If it doesn't work, that is a really serious problem. Because that is how politics in this country are supposed to work. And I really don't think that this fantasy that some of these kids have about having a knockdown, drag out, shoot at everybody, anarchy, killing spree in this country, as well as whatever the fuck these twisted ass Republican motherfuckers have going on in their heads with all their hate speech, that is not a solution. People hurting each other does not solve anything. That's internal terrorism. When people want us hurting each other, I don't respect people that don't seek real solutions, man. So if something's wrong with the voting system, how do we fix it? If something's wrong with the policing system, how do we fix it? And we need more people doing that. And I'm getting tired of being one of the few people, as I'm sure my colleagues in activism are. The shit wears you out, and you don't get paid for it. We spend a lot of time and work and pain and suffering into protecting you people and solving your fucking problems, while you act like pieces of shit and judge everybody around you. Tired of it. I'm fucking tired of it. And now I'm being blocked on trying to find work in my industry and the work I enjoy and pursuing my dream and my future because I'm female. And on top of that, more crookery within the school system. I came into college no fucking idea what I was doing. First time I tried to start college, I went in there and they kept trying to counsel me like I was some sort of troubled child. Hello, motherfucker. I'm looking to spend thousands of dollars at your business. I'm trying to make a good future for myself. I'm set up on financial aid. How do I start my classes? I enrolled into classes. What am I supposed to do with this financial aid? And I'm coming in there to the school, and this guy is like, so tell me about your family. Every time that I come in there, I'm like, no, this ain't about my family, dude. Classes are going to start. How do I pay for my classes? No word of advice. Next thing I know, classes are starting. It's like the next day my classes are supposed to start. Same school that I'm going to right now. Next day, classes are supposed to start. I still don't know how I'm supposed to pay for the fucking classes. School's telling me I gotta pay for the fucking classes. We're talking about college here. I don't know how to pay for them, so I just didn't go. And based on how absolutely retarded that experience was, signing up at our local community college, I decided college wasn't for me. Because that was ridiculous. These guys can't even tell me how to pay for classes. Obviously, they have no idea what they're doing. Why would I want to go to school here? But then finally, I'm in a career, and I really want to do this thing. So 6 years later, I signed back up for college. And I take my first semester, and I got this psychotic bitch of a professor. I'll put it out there. Her name is Susan Metzger. Who is, I'm pretty sure, an adjunct professor. I'm in my first semester of college. I'm coming into the class, and this woman is spending time belittling the students in front of the rest of the class. Oh yeah, well you know why this guy didn't show up for class today? He was smoking weed. I did not receive an education in the classroom, and what was happening in that classroom, which was a 2-period course, was so fucking stressful that I could not focus on my other classes. I started to sink into a depression. And it was too late for me to withdraw from that class, to the point where I just stopped attending so I could focus on my other classes. I did file a report against that professor. They make it impossible to navigate what the fuck is going on in school. 2 semesters later, I'm told that I should have filed some sort of specific kind of complaint and I could have been refunded for the class. The advisors never seem to know what's going on. They hardly ever give real advice. I get real advice when I call and tell them I'm recording, and they know that I'm preparing for legal action. Other than that, I'm getting dicked around, misled. I passed my classes my second semester. I failed my psychology class because I couldn't properly write essays, while I was supposed to be in English class with a professor who has no course plan, stole one off the internet, doesn't even understand her own course plan, and spends her time preaching her personal opinions and belittling her students for 2 hours of lecture time. And then I'm taking public speaking, and I failed that class because our professor lied to us about the due date of our take-home written final. And I didn't pass psychology. I knew all the material. I didn't pass psychology because I couldn't cite sources well enough in my essays, but yet somehow I was able to enter that course without my aptitude in English preventing me from entering that course. It's just ridiculous. It is abso-fucking-lutely ridiculous. So I'm finding that what I gotta do to deal with the college, basically, and talking to other students too, this is the conclusion I've come to. You gotta threaten to sue them and be a real fucking asshole to get these people that you're paying thousands of dollars that are also taking government tax money to do their fucking job. So is this what they're doing? They're taking my federal financial aid and misleading me to where I have to take the classes more than once in order to pass, while neglecting their employees. So we have all these adjunct professors that are underpaid and overworked. Man, they're milking it. They are fucking milking it. And they're just about as crooked as any of the rest of the bastards. And what is happening in our college system is absolute bullshit. And if we're looking at doing something like protecting our environment and pushing fracking operations out of our state, or, you know, anything that matters in this country, we need to have an educated public. And it is absolutely impossible to feed yourself and go to college, to have food in your stomach and a roof over your head. I saw 2 students wind up homeless this year. And I find that very concerning. And then you get in there and you have no understanding of what's going on, and you have assholes dicking you around that don't even listen to you when you go into the fucking advising office. You need to treat them like they are a corporation that just stole money from you every time you talk to any representative of the college. I'm going to let you know that right off the hand. If you want to succeed in college, you got to threaten to sue the whole way through and be a real fucking asshole to make sure that you get taken care of. And that's bullshit. It shouldn't have to be that way. We need an educated public so we won't have people like our oil worker who's going to be out of work when we have an economic shift. That needs to happen regardless of whether or not these companies want to put their fucking money in politics and pillage and rape and fucking kill people. It's bullshit. And then the whole women's issue is driving me nuts. I can't get work in my field doing what I am passionate and educated about because I have a vagina. And believe me, I'll find my way through it. I ain't gonna let nothing hold me back. And the anger could be enough to fuel me to start a business and partner up with these other guys or something and seek the destruction of these fucking assholes. Because their operations are bullshit. But how, you know, at this point in my life too, I'm almost 30. I'm even really tired of getting dicked around. I'm not going to let it happen anymore. In any way. But like, I don't got kids. I don't got a family. I'm still here trying to fucking scrape to get by. And you want to know what's going on with millennials? Well, there's a bunch of greedy assholes. They're about to get fucked. Because they're fucking everybody around them. And they're not worth working for. I'm not going to put myself in harm's way to make a fucking buck. I'm sorry. They need to have their shit in fucking order, man. You companies need to fucking follow safety protocol. And you need to stop disrespecting your public. And you should expect to go out of business if you don't respect your public, and you don't respect your employees, and you don't respect your clients. There are way too many people that think it's a great idea to go into business that have no idea what they're doing. And ultimately, you fucks are all set to fail. If you can't go green, you're going under. That's just the way it is. If you can't behave ethically, you're going under. There's going to be exposés on your ass. You're going to get protesters. And you fucking deserve it. You fucking deserve it for every fucking person that you have intentionally put in harm's way. You want to know how to make money? Treat people with respect. That's how you make money. You serve society. That's what it takes to make money. So, nothing against the arborists. Nothing against the landscape architects, except for the fact that y'all need to think more about how you're organizing your plants and whether or not that landscape is able to mature the way you designed it. But as far as landscape management goes, I would really love to watch this game of business go down over the next few years and see some heads roll. I'm really having a hard time seeing the future being a woman in business. I gotta deal with this gender bias bullshit, and I really would like it if we could get more information about this out there, because the women are having the babies and are oftentimes the single parent in charge of the children. Yes, there are single fathers out there, but majority case scenario, these women are going through the pain and suffering of having the children and of raising them. And pay inequality is a real thing, and they are going through it. And that is ridiculous that men are making more money for work that women also do, and women are getting paid less. And first-hand experience with this, I have done nothing in the past 4 years but hit the books and bust my ass trying to develop a company. And yeah, it's been gender bias all the way through. I've had sexist comments made at me plenty of times. My opinion is often discounted. And those are pretty common things. And so, as far as seeing appropriate pay raises or even employability, yeah, I've experienced pay inequality. Right now, I've been doing landscaping this summer for minimum wage because I'm having to go through the temp service to do the same fucking work. Because now I'm servicing individual people or properties that need some work done. Because I have a vagina, so I can't work for a landscape management company. I'm gonna start. I'm thinking about putting in applications where my name is Robert, just to see if I get fucking calls on my fucking resume. I need to do my research. I'm gonna find the right person to work for. And if I can't find anybody I respect in landscape management, I will be working for another operation. I'm also thinking about relocating, moving to probably go work for Boulder, for that company that's actually innovating in our industry and not just like thinking they're cool, sitting there like a bump on a log with no fucking education underneath them and no ethical practice, and actually go work for somebody that, like, has honor and is respectable. And I think that would be worth relocating for. So yeah, I need to clamp down on my job search a little bit better. But goddamn, dude, how are women supposed to fucking make a living? Like, our society is just this twisted fucking freak show of assholes. And I really want to see more people pushing back against the assholes and making them knock their shit off, because this is absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's like impossible to live without fighting with some psychotic piece of shit every 5 minutes. This country is turning into a fucking shithole of ridiculousness, and it is because of an uneducated public. And I'm angry. I'm angry that I can't have a family, that I can't have a stable job, that I can't do things that matter to me right now because of this fucked up shit that is a result of the irresponsibility of a bunch of immature, fucking dumb, stupid, poorly educated, egotistic, sissy, scared citizens who won't stand up for things that matter and things that are right and think about what is actually going on and make informed decisions. And that's what I have to say today. As far as women goes, we get mistreated in the workplace. And then this whole patriarchal, that's another thing that's been on my mind a lot. I'm getting it all right now. I'm getting it all out. This patriarchal, white privilege society, man. I don't care. I know that right now is a subject of controversy. I know that white males don't like to hear that. I know that Republicans don't like to hear that. And I know that Fox News doesn't like to hear that. But, you know, I have some white friends. But that's still the situation. Is that men are in charge. I wouldn't even call them in charge. I get to say a lot of negative things. And it's not because of men as a whole. It's because women are suppressed in business. And part of that is that we're not, as women, we're not teaming up and we're not facing this issue with each other publicly the way the men are. You know, there's all these business talks, all these podcasts on business, but women are not talking enough. We're not talking enough, and we're not working together to really make this public and find resolution to these issues. Meanwhile, the internet's gone global. And so you got people in third world countries seeing that we sell our products by sexualizing the living hell out of women, and God only knows what kind of horrendous negative consequences that is having overseas with things like childhood rape. I am very unhappy with this behavior of the United States and its citizens right now. I am absolutely appalled by the lack of rationality, and the lack of public discussion, and the lack of compassion. Y'all are behaving like a bunch of animals, not people. As far as the public dialogue on women goes and the subjectification of women, we are not objects. We're not items that you use in advertising to sell products. And for anybody who thinks that sex sells and needs to put it on their album covers, all you fucking musicians, man. Any musician that needs to put naked images on their fucking... You are not a musician. No. No, you're a really fucking shitty person who thinks that you're a musician, but your music sucks so much that you gotta try and sell it on sex because you got nothing else to go off of because you're not a musician. You're just a fucking loser with a computer program that thinks that they're hot shit. But you're not shit because you don't fucking understand shit about this life. And you're making more fucking hell for more fucking people because of how fake as fuck you are that you have to hide from the reality that we live in and be a piece of shit. I don't know how I'm gonna fucking find a decent man that's gonna treat me with respect. And I think a lot of that has to do with this conditioning we have in our society with the patriarchal thinking. I don't know how I'm gonna find a guy who's gonna be a present father that's not gonna hit me, that's gonna respect me and treat me like a person. I hope that I will find that. I don't know how I'm gonna pursue my career when I gotta fight over the fact that I have a vagina the whole way. I'll figure it out somehow. I'll figure it all out. That's my life. I'll figure it out, man. I'm a fighter. No fucking asshole pieces of shit are gonna tuck me under the rug. You better kill me if you want to get rid of me. I ain't giving up. This objectification of women needs to fucking stop. And we need to be talking about this shit. It's hurting us in the workplace. It's hurting us in our personal lives. It's hurting us in our self-image. How the fuck are we supposed to raise kids when we're being fucking oppressed and suppressed? Like the way that I look at having kids, I see people in public housing, I'm like, oh yeah, that's where people who have kids go. That's what happens to women that have kids. They gotta live in fucking subsidized housing. I ain't looking down on nobody, but I think that's a bullshit. That is an unfair double standard that the men are making all this money while the women are raising the kids. Like, there are good men out there. There are responsible men. There are mature men. And then there's men who never grow up. I won't call them men, I call them boys. They never grow up. They turn into alcoholics and shit. And they just spend all that money on garbage. Meanwhile, the mother of their child is fucking suffering. And their child is suffering. And that's something that happens all over the fucking world, man. I think it's funny y'all ain't thinking about your mothers and the shithole shit that you had to go through as children when you're treating women like crap. That's the dialogue that needs to happen. And I'm also looking at what's going on with the minorities. I've done research about this whole black and cops issue. And the simple fact of the matter is, okay, go do your own fucking research, because I ain't sitting here fucking spewing facts to a bunch of dumbass motherfuckers that think that they have a right to an opinion when they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. African Americans are oppressed in the United States. Okay? And I understand that pain. Probably not as deeply. I can't imagine being female and African American. Just try to fucking pin us down and tell us that none of us have a fucking future. Demonize us when we fight back. I'm tired of this shit. We got some really big, serious fucking problems in this country. I want a future. I want happiness just as much as anybody else. There's a bunch of dickheads keeping that from happening, and there's no good reason for it. Other than greed. Greed is the only reason. What's happening in the political arena, this Trump motherfucker running for office, that is absolutely appalling. The language that he is using to even imagine him engaging in international relations is just a horrifying idea. So, I already know where I'm going to move forward with my own problems here. But I'm pretty angry at some of the things that I'm having to look at right now. I'm gonna get off the fucking soapbox. And one day, my videos will be better. I'll have a screencaster or something. I'll find a way to be more engaging. But I'm putting my thoughts out there. And I'll be video blogging. Because if what I have to say is relevant, then I want somebody to hear it.